So it's Wednesday, the 22nd of July. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program here at Channels Global Headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria, and anywhere around the world where you're watching us at this time. It's 10 a.m. local time. Let's get the show started. I am Bosun Omofai. President Buhari is still in the United States, and right now he's talking more about the state of the country's economy, wooing international investors to get in here. What are some of the stories in the news? In case you forgot, 30 years ago, the then military head of state, General Muhammadu Buhari, talked much about the war against indiscipline. Now he's talking about the same thing. He says the first thing to do about Nigeria is to get our moral architecture back on track, then do a few other things in between. What else is President Buhari talking about? He's talking about the continued privatization in all the key segments of the economy, especially oil and gas and the troubled power sector. He's talking about job creation as well. He says that was part of his campaign promises. He will keep that in place because the rate of unemployment is increasing. He talks about investment in the non-oil sector to diversify the state of Nigeria's economy. He also talked about the ease of doing business. He says Nigeria's business environment is liberal and foreign investors should take advantage of that. He was talking to international investors and Nigerians in diaspora at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce as well as the interface with the Corporate Council for Africa called the CCA. Those two foreign relations, business and investment group are based in Washington. He talks about prudence in managing the state of the economy. He talks about accountability, the rule of law, and integrity of contracts. One major problem for investors doing business in Nigeria, the legitimacy and integrity of extant contracts. Now the president is bringing back pledges of money that runs into billions of dollars. Flip the page and see how money is now following President Buhari. Now we'll get to the stock market yesterday. But the World Bank's pledging $2.1 billion to rebuild the troubled Northeast, more than 20,000 deaths resulting from the insurgents Boko Haram. The World Health Organization also pledges $500,000 to ramp up immunization of malaria in Nigeria. That will be coming through during the President Buhari's regime. While Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation says they are continuing their relationship with Dangote Foundation to bring polio cases in Nigeria to zero. Those are some stories making the headlines as we speak. We'll track these stories more for you in the details, but let's give room to Emana Amawe, who is from our newsroom, to tell you everything else making the headlines. Of course, President Buhari's visit to the United States is number one. Definitely. Keeping an eye on our CEO.
Well,
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's indeed been a busy schedule for the president, as we all know, and he continues with meetings. He's meeting with different groups in the United States. At one of such meetings with the U.S. Secretary of State, Mr. John Kerry, yesterday, the U.S. government re-emphasized its support for Nigeria in tackling the economic and security challenges. Well, Nigeria is certainly enjoying some goodwill at this time, and this is not limited to the promises of the support from the United States. The World Bank has promised to spend $2.1 billion in the Northeast in a few weeks from now. The package from the global financial institution is expected to be used to rebuild parts of the region ravaged by the Boko Haram insurgency in the past 6 years. President Buhari told concerned individuals at a meeting yesterday that apart from restoring infrastructure in the region, priority must also be given to the resettlement of internally displaced persons who now number of over 1 million. The World Bank says on its part that it's eager to move in and give out the loans and give help to the people of the Northeast. Meanwhile, the former Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, has officially handed over to his successor, Major General Abayomi Olonisaki. The new Chief of Defense Staff believes it is time for the Nigerian military to redouble its efforts in curbing terrorism in the country, especially in the Northeast. He also stressed the need to strengthen the military command base in Maiduguri. And the police have announced plans to review the use of force and diversify options that will give operational police officers less lethal tools to work with. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Solomon Arase, told officers at a policy program in Abuja that the police have lost a lot of money to human rights litigations. While those are our top stories at this time, I'm Imana Amawe. It's back to Bosa.
Okay, follow Nigeria's news leader, where news never stops. Here on Channels Television. Thank you. She'll be back on the news track. Okay, let's continue. President Buhari says we all have to be of good behavior, and he says that will be his first point of call in turning around Nigeria and the structure of the economy. Quote, he says he wants to restart the economy by improving our moral architecture. Quote and unquote. So everything else will follow. Let's talk the market. President Buhari in Washington talking up the economy, talking up strategies on battling insurgency and good behavior among Nigerians and good governance. Now, the stock market here responded almost 1% to the upside, with some more than 350% increase in the total volume of shares traded on the market yesterday. That's the first trading day after the long Muslim holiday. But let's look at the rest of the market first as usual. We started from the interbank market. Naira fell sharply. Yes, that was that. The Naira has its own behavior, but then the interbank market still remained slightly sluggish, started the new trading week on Tuesday with about 100 billion Naira liquidity. On the streets, there's no new money yet. We're keeping our eyes on the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee and the repayments of about 160 billion Naira matured treasuries from this financial regulator tomorrow, Thursday. But today we're expecting treasuries of about 156 billion from the central bank to take some of the extant liquidity of the market. There was no open market operations nor a PMA, primary market auction on Monday on Tuesday when we started the market. Look at this rounds as we're mild uptrend in terms of interbank rates to 14.3%, just slightly around 2 basis points. Everybody started the week on a bit of a sluggish note, waiting for those sound bites from the president and keeping an eye on the July 24 Central Bank monetary policy interest rate setting decision. It's a very crucial one for Nigeria moving into the deep end of the third quarter of 2015. Overnight money, however, rose 42 points to 9.46%, still within the single digit where we finished off on Thursday before the Muslim holiday. The Naira was up 0.42% on the pound, but fell 0.13 on the dollar, American dollar that is, and another little bit flat on the euro. Look at the treasuries market, where the market was a little bit bearish yesterday. You can all understand the mood of the treasuries markets. Their yields expand 7 basis points on average to 13.8%. Sell-off continues at the short end of the yield curve until everybody is clear about the next interest rate decision by the financial regulator. All eyes on what the central bank will do with the open market operations expected today. We can't escape that. If that happens, well, there'll be some kind of magic for the central bank not to wait in today before the MPC meeting starts tomorrow, Thursday, the 23rd, and those announcements are 2:30 Nigerian time on Friday, the 24th, from Emefiele and the rest of his team in that, you call it the brown room, but it's called the green room. And look at the bonds market. A very positive starting the new market for the long end of the market. Foreign and local investors are getting their sentiments positively back in the Nigerian market. If you want to see where things are coming from, look at the bonds market and you look at equities. So yesterday the bonds were quite positive. Average yield was down 8 points to 15.15%. August 2016 and March 2024 maturities see yields decline 16 points on average. July 2034 bond pulls the largest yield decline of about 32 points at 14.81. So the confidence across these 10-odd maturities show that investors are getting their confidence back into the Nigerian market. So you see the secondary bond market there ramping up on the back of the equities. Now that's where the icing on the cake was for us yesterday. How did Owando, the energy oil trader, the indigenous one, raked up 10.24% yesterday? Transcorp, despite its disappointing first half 2015 earnings, reported 9.9% uptake on the share price yesterday. FCMB went up more than 5%. Access Bank, 3.38%. We'll talk about the oil and gas later. But broadly, the market was very positive. 375% was the difference between the volume of what was traded on Tuesday more than 1 billion shares compared to about 227 million shares traded on Thursday just before the Muslim holiday. In terms of the index, yes, it was quite positive. Leading the market yesterday was the oil and gas subsector, ramping up almost 3% on the counter. The insurance and the banking stock, their cousins, fell yesterday, but the consumer and industrial goods were significantly higher. Let's bring in our market trader. Not our own market trader. Nobody trades for channels. Take that back. That's our analyst and trader at Enterprise Capital. Rotimi Fakaijo is the CEO there. Rotimi, thank you very much for coming through on the program. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, both.
Okay, sorry, I was just about referring to you as our trader. Sorry, you don't trade for us.
You don't even want to trade it.
We don't have a portfolio, so we don't trade the market. Thank you very much. You sound a lot better today, and we share your sentiments here, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the bit.
Yes,
Are we back? Are we back, Rotimi? Are we back with Buhari effect? Are we back with Buhari effect? President Buhari effect, positive impact on the market. Don't forget we talked about this during the elections.
Yes, I think at least certain pronouncements, certain moves being made right now. I think they are pointing in a positive direction, and I think that is beginning to give warm the hearts of Nigerians once again. At least the stance on corruption and also the fact that he hasn't considered his cabinet to certain reasons, which is very, very acceptable to Nigerians. I think those are very positive, and I believe that Nigerians are really going to take it easy and be highly expectant. And I think some of these things will begin to trickle down positively in a very short while.
Okay, Rotimi, let's start with, let's move on very quickly. Some not too happy news. We're starting the second trading day. Flamuse, one of Nigeria's largest fast-moving consumer goods company, reported revenue decline of about 11 billion naira in the first half. How are you folks taking that on the trading floor right now?
Well,